Oh yes,
Right, fantastic. Welcome back, everybody. We are now at item 3.1, which is page 30 of your order paper. Rent relief for community groups.
I can.
Do you want to talk to that?
Yes, I was just going to say Donna's tied up other matters, so she's asked me to present the report. So I'm happy to take any questions and talk to that if you would like. Give you my recommendation or my view. Let's start.
I will quite happy to move that we proceed to the next business.
Through the chair, can I just ask a
I don't
question?
think it should be discussed.
No.
Just can someone just clarify? There's 17 community groups there, and some of them say $100 next to them, and some of them say $350.
All right.
So through the chair, so that's around services.
Yes.
100.
Yeah.
So that you can see there, you know, St John's and those kind of things.
Yeah. That's what they pay.
So they pay that versus the other groups, they pay 350.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you.
All right, so
I'd like to say that some of those have they're funded externally, and so for this one's a sort of slow one, so I don't have any support for it all. That's me, because, well, on one hand, like everyone's funded in this, no, so again, many people suffer through money. But at the end of the day, the ratepayer is paying for them. So for me, when you go down this list, there are some of these things that were not as inconvenienced as others, and some are funded externally. And the problem I have is next time round there'll be a weather event and people can't do something and the same thing comes back, and it's just a hole, and it's not a large amount of money in anybody's organisation to me, so I just, it's dangerous to me.
Dale.
Through the chair, I take Councillor Fox's point about it being not a large amount of money, and I certainly support, it's almost a token gesture in some respects, the matter of $100, particularly for those life-saving and community services, you know, in terms of Fire Force and St John, and I wouldn't want to dispute any of those. So I'm very strongly in support of that rent relief.
Okay, Jeremy, did you have any comments?
I don't have a strong view really either way. I mean, I see the merit in giving some rent relief in a situation room, because I think it's sort of, I guess, a better word, unprecedented times, and it is quite a unique situation. It's not, in my opinion, not comparable to a weather event, and I think it is so yeah, on face of it, I think I probably do support it in this instance.
Well, can I speak now?
Yes, oh, sorry.
Comment. I don't support it, and I don't support it for this reason, that we have a lot of people with fixed incomes in this town. We have a lot of people on lower incomes. This is asking us to subsidise people in their leisure activities in a lot of cases. $100 for most of the essential fire forces and things, that's paid anyway by their national body. It's a token amount. I don't support it anyway at all.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
I take Dale's point that there might be some sympathetic reason for supporting it, but on balance, I think there are risks in doing that because it may be setting precedents and more people will be finding themselves disadvantaged for some reason. So I'm sorry, I do not support it.
Okay, I'm going to put this to a vote. Someone not clearly on the fence in either direction. All those in favour of the resolution as it stands, which is to allocate the funding of $4,800 from discretionary funds, please say aye.
Madam Chair, before you do that, can I interject? And can I propose that we modify that resolution and just make it for those $100 ones. If the others are not comfortable about your art groups and your leisure organisations.
Those are the ones that are funded by national bodies. So not fundraising here with sausage sizzles to pay.
I think it's a heart thing rather than a money thing. I think it is, we see you and what you do regardless of your funding stream and your community service. We acknowledge that and we are prepared to give this small amount of money in rent relief.
Wouldn't Madam Chair, should we stick to a little bit of meeting procedure if we're going to get through this? And before you start modernising the motion, when you've got a motion on the floor? Amending a motion with a motion on the floor?
Okay. So we will look at the resolution as they are. That's the motion that is on the floor.
Which is just the blanket policy, right?
Which is just,
Then
yes,
you can put another motion afterwards.
Yeah,
Yes.
understand.
yes.
Yep.
So that we need to address this one first. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
To accept it as it is?
Yep.
All those opposed?
No.
All right, it's carried, so the motion is as it stands on the paper.
Motion's not carried.
No, it's
Motion's
not
not
carried.
carried.
Why,
So we would say declined?
It's declined.
sorry,
It's declined.
it's declined,
Yes.
Yeah.
but not to go for it, yes, sorry.
And it will be minuted that I was in favour
Can you
of
have
it.
that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool. And we just need to move on.
Oh, sorry, can I get a mover and second to that report? We can do that.
You'll move it.
Thanks, Kelly. Seconded by Tony. Thank you. Can you change that to declines? Yeah, okay, thank you.
And I will add in.
Right, so that takes us to item 5.1, which is our members' reports. Who would like to kick us off?
I'll start if you like at this end of the table.
Kelly?
Because I don't have a lot to report. Obviously, you know, I feel for a lot of people who have been doing it tough with the whole COVID thing and being unemployed. I've had some quite good feedback over the managing to get the rates increased down. So I've actually had some really nice feedback about that because none of us at this table want people to suffer any more than they might have already. I went and had a conversation with Leslie at the Mercury Bay Library and have seen a few letters and things to Sandra and to various elected members around the cuts to the library budget. And I actually had a good chat with Leslie and suggested, rather than people going, oh my God, to go and purchase that book and have a book plate in the front that says it was donated by.
Yes. Are they going to make that public?
Yes, I've asked Leslie to work on that list and to publicise it, but to emphasise that people need to go in and actually sign their name or whatever and say that's the one I'm buying, so you don't get 10 Harry Potters or
Yeah.
10 books on New Zealand birds. So, yeah, I think a user pays to some extent, and obviously there's people who won't be able to afford to engage with that. But I think it's a nice community spirited action.
Exactly, and it's for the year, just 1 year.
Yeah, it is only 1 year.
Yes.
That list may not be that long, it may only be 20 or 30 books, so.
And I'm sure if she publicises it, she'll
Yeah.
get some support. Thanks, Kelly. Jeremy?
I don't have a lot to report either. It's been a number of meetings, mainly through the Mercury Bay South, through the chair meeting we had last week. And I met with the chairs over coffee in Hollywood Beach and just sort of got up to speed with all the stuff that's going on there. I went to the ratepayers meeting on Sunday and they've asked me to present a proposal to council, so I'd like to table the document I put together, which was essentially asking council to give a similar permit to what Hot Water Beach have for their resident parking. The difference with this is it would only be during the winter months, and the thinking is that obviously when the bus isn't running, there's paid car park at the top. A lot of young families trying to get themselves up to there and not having to pay the $15. And the majority of the time, especially in the environment we're in now, that car park is empty anyway. So it would allow, I guess, young families and the older community to use that car park during periods where they can park the car and walk rather than trying to have to park at the bottom and having to go up that big hill, which obviously adds. So they're not asking for it year round, they're asking for it during the winter months, which I don't think would have a real impact financially on takings, because keep in mind the car park is very seldomly full. And they're asking for one sort of a similar system that has where it'd be a single pass per house or resident or ratepayer. So sort of, can I table that document, Jen?
Yep, and I have it shared with the community to let them know that you.
Yeah, so I didn't know what the process is, obviously, into this, how something like this could be pushed along or. Okay, yeah. I certainly feel that there's some merits to it. I think they've been quite reasonable and not expecting too much, understanding that there is a bus service and things available.
Oh, absolutely, it's on your doorstep, that's good.
So that was one. Other than that, I think, obviously the world, Mercury Bay South, obviously, most of my time has changed, but people, I think, are generally very accepting of the rate, new rate increase. I think that's been, like Kelly says, real positive. And understand that council's worked hard to pull some budget out, and appreciate that. And interesting, the dog bylaw is an interesting one. And I think, Tony and I think Murray said it does really need to be looked as a blanket, and it's a very dangerous territory because you have as many dog lovers and people that need areas to walk their dog, and a lot of them, the majority of them are responsible dog owners that do control their dogs. So I think it needs to be treated carefully, I guess, changes.
All right, thank you, Murray.
The last 2 Mondays we had the Mercury Bay North, Mercury Bay South ratepayers meetings. Let me say that those meetings were productive, and I find it gratifying. We talked about Belmini Corner this morning. Those groups out there, they want the bridge, but they accept that when they see the obstacles and the NZTA funding and the work that's being done, they accept it's not going to happen. And it cuts a lot of hot air and a lot of stupidity that we tend to get. And I really admire those groups that work with us, not against us. And I think those groups are really good, and I hope we can work with the Night Sky and that Whangaparaoa Peninsula and get that for them too. So I think there's some real positives out there. On another note, one of the things I've had discussion with Rob and a number of other people, Scott Simpson was the last two meetings, on the current funding model of councils. And the thing I've talked to Bruce about, and I really think we've got to have some discussion at council to get understanding that, because I honestly believe that fees and charges about where they can't go much higher in comparison to other councils. Our rates are higher compared to other councils. I look at the units I have here, the units around in Eastcape Avenue and the units in Nakia are exactly $100 a week, $100 a month difference in rates. So, on an elderly person, $100 a month, $1,200 a year, it's a substantial difference. So I look at that, and I bear in mind my comment before that people on fixed income. So I really think we've got to stop, and people have got to stop and say, what is our funding model going to pay for? And I bring that in. I went to a meeting on Monday with John Evans and Terry Fletcher that want to dump some more rocks on the beach. They forget that there's erosion at Cook's Beach, there's erosion up the top of the peninsula, there's erosion all over the place. Want to dump a whole lot of money in here, fix a problem here. And it's not just as simple as that. Where does all this end? Where does it start and finish? And it's something that is really concerning me that this funding model, I look at the water and I wonder where we're going to go with central government saying, we're going to take over water. Where are we going to end, and are we going to end up like eroding? It really concerns me on the bigger picture, and I think we've got to talk to Bruce this morning. I think we've got to spend some time on the bigger picture, and that, even to someone with my experience in politics, is getting very, very murky as to where we're going in some of these things and affordability. I've had that.
Have you had that just as an interest conversation at council?
I've talked to Rob about the funding model, I've talked to Tony about it, I've talked to Scott about it, talked to a number of people, talked to Bruce about it a lot of times. And it's a real problem as to how a council like this, and far north is another one, where we haven't got the population. We've only got 29,000 ratepayers, and the expectations are up here, and as we get more people throughout the district, the expectations go higher. And I use an illustration, when Hahei opened up, people were happy with tanks and people were happy with no footpaths. And now people want footpaths on both sides of the roads, now people want sealed car parks, and now people want water supply and a wastewater system. And they've got to happen. But the affordability issue we're facing over this peninsula, I really, really worry where we're going to go. And it's not this community, it's the whole communities, we've only got to have Havelock North and Hahei, and that contamination, and we're in deep stock. And these things can happen. And I know council spent money putting in ultraviolet and chlorination and all the rest of it, but I still think some places we're pretty fragile.
Yeah, very good points. Tony?
I've got really no doubt, but I regrettably couldn't get to either of the Mercury North or South ends, because I had original road transport distance on both days. Apologies, did go through.
Yeah, they did.
All I'd say is that state highways 25 and 25 are actually on a schedule along the state highways 1, 2, 3 and 26. And I think as some of the road corridors are improved, I'm open to Tauranga, the biggest port of New Zealand is, where the biggest port holdings are, where the biggest growth will be, to Taupo, and then of course from Taranaki across to Taupo for exporters and indeed King Country. Once that happens, my comment is that makes us more accessible too. And of course, we've just had the $20 million invested into the agriculture industry, which will put significantly more trucks, etc., on the roads and more demands. And so that is happening. So one of the bits of work that I'm asking to get done, coordinated through Thames, is for each community board to provide to council, who talk right to me, the eroding wish lists. They will say that, that's speed or other calming devices, whatever, in our patch. With my intention is to take the Thames-Coromandel District Council NZTA eroding issues to them to be supported. So what I'm saying is I'm waiting to get that and come back here, but it's something I want to progress quickly because there's a lot of work going on in that rating environment at the moment, and I don't want to miss the boat. So I'm told that information is from Thames, Bruce, in the rating about.
Some information is available, yeah,
So,
but there's definitely going to be other information that individual boards will have, like their own wish list, priorities that we might not actually have. So, yeah.
So I just think amongst us, and I don't know whether that is tapped onto the back end of a workshop, so that we just, go around the road network. And are we happy? Like for me, the issue down between Mercury Bay South Highway rather, and State Highway, trying to get them out of there at peak time, particularly weekends. The money would have been better putting around about there. where we put it under public demand almost.
Mm.
But however, to the town, I think it's more important out there. But the ones to me are for a car, you know, 50 to 80, the one-way bridge, 50.
Yeah.
Just don't make quite enough sense. And I guess for me, the other thing I'm trying to say to people is, don't let's get bogged down with the state-of-the-art thing. For me, those solar-powered boxes that say you're going over the speed limit, or they are, like the school, for a kid, he goes and turns the switch on, the speed limit is flashing, and when he goes home, he turns it off and he can drive through the airport. So it's that approach as opposed to whole of science. But I look forward to catching up on the full reports from those community meetings because they're invaluable.
Yeah, they were really
I'm
good.
disappointed I missed yesterday's one particularly.
Phil,
Right,
Okay.
yes. I've been badgered a wee bit by people about the pedestrian safety barrier between the hardware store and Mercury Bay Club. And they're wondering when it's going to be fully repaired, because that's a pedestrian crossing for school kids in particular, and only half of it's been reinstated.
has it been damaged?
Oh yes, it was crashed last year, yeah. So that's just a question, and I'd like at some stage to be updated if I may.
I'll find out the answer.
Thank you very much. And one that's going to upset Heather, regrettably. Heather, do you remember when last year?
I try not to remember last year.
That's good. When we were being a bit concerned about people driving on grass berms and damaging and whatever. And I know that council very kindly came along and completely reinstated the one outside the junior school at Coupe by the roundabout. Well, it's been totally destroyed again. Now, my question is, what, if any, authority does council have to speak to those people, say, would you please not park on the grass?
This is in respect to, people just park up on the berm and it hollows out behind the
Yes.
curb and then
Yeah.
it gets full of water and then everyone complains to the council.
Yes. Yes.
The berm is really bad, but it's about people parking.
Yeah, so.
They don't have adequate parking there.
So through the chair, that can be a bit of a challenging issue to deal with, because some people are very much in favour of being allowed to park on berms, and other people are very much in favour of stopping people from parking on berms.
I understand it's
quite a challenging issue.
Yes.
And I guess we generally approach it from a safety perspective, making sure that people aren't doing things that are unsafe. But I hear what you're saying, and if the berm's getting chewed out from people parking on it, that is an issue that we can try and deal with.
Sure.
But it's been challenging in other areas where we've tried to deal with it,
Sure.
in residents, we're on bollards on this bit, and other people are saying, well, if we put bollards here, we can't park there, a trailer there where you temporarily run inside to do something or whatever. So yeah, so we generally try and stay out of it, but if we need to have a look at it, we can do that.
The point is, though, that people are doing it because they think it's safe. But there is room to park. I drive it every day. And there is room for cars and to pass. There is room. People say, well, we don't want our children getting out on the roadside. Well, if you've got kids in the car, you can keep them on the footpath side, not the roadside. So it really is a challenging issue. So,
Well, if we can get a few details on where that is, the
yeah,
location.
I'll take a photo and scoot it through too.
Yeah.
Just an RFP.
Yeah.
I guess
But is it, they do have car parks, but it's a sealed car park. But I think the staff filled it up and other people will look at it and whatever. But anyway, just something that annoys me because Heather, you did a great job and it was fixed, and then rotten buggers come along and destroy it again.
Well, if you want to provide me with more detail,
I
I can
will.
do a request for service to
Okay.
the roading team.
Do that with pleasure. All righty. Yes. I'm, as you know, with Community Patrol, and we're trying to encourage Manarangi to set up a patrol there. And one of the questions one of the guys asked was, why hasn't the power supply for the cameras at Manarangi been sorted out? Now, I honestly thought that we're on top of that.
This is in hand, isn't it? Because we talked about it on Monday,
Yeah.
our meeting.
Okay.
So it's in hand, isn't it? Oh, it's in hand, yeah.
Okay. It's just that the guy that was speaking to me said it wasn't. I've asked him to give him information and he hasn't. Okay.
Mark Bedford, who is the chair of
Yep.
Mararangi,
Yep.
emailed me after our chair meeting and
Yep.
said that, because initially it was housed in our transfer station and there's some issues around that.
Yes, I know that.
They're actively, from what I can make up, haven't had time to have a good look at the emails, but they're actually looking at an alternative location for that.
Great.
And he said there's nothing for council to do at the moment.
Good. Well, the reason I raised it because I was approached while I was at another meeting with them on the community patrol, and you raised, and I said, send me an email. Nothing's happened.
What's in hand?
Good,
That's
good. So I can next time I talk to him, I can. All righty. Now I have another item which, if you will indulge me, I may read to you, and it's called What If? I don't know whether that's significant or not.
Was that a dramatic pause?
Are you?
No, I had a frog up my throat.
Are you tabling
Running
this?
stagecraft.
Am I allowed to table it?
Yeah.
Then I so wish. Okay, great. And I'll read it to you. This past summer, Whittianga endured.
Hang on, point of order. Is this a member's report
Yes,
or is this? It is part of,
I'm asking.
or is he reading on behalf of someone else? It's not, is it your report?
yes,
Oh, it's your report?
yes,
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
yes.
That's right. It's your report, Bob? I thought it was someone else's report.
No?
Oh, sorry, we couldn't see the bottom of the story.
Yeah, that's now we know.
It
Now we know.
wasn't on the same page.
Okay, right. We want to start?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the dry season in 60 years. Restrictions were put in place, including temporary total banning of some activities, i.e. irrigation, either irrigating gardens, washing cars, etc., and asking ratepayers and visitors to conserve water. Unfortunately, considerable irreparable damage to plants and trees on both private and public land has occurred. Suggestions from concerned ratepayers wanting to save their gardens included taking more water from our supply river, irrespective of RMA conditions, immediately increasing storage capacity, but not how this would be achieved, taking water from other rivers, etc., and so on, were rife. There has been a lot of rhetoric, public meetings, alternative sources suggested, like aquifers, desalination plants, dam construction, and et al., but nothing seems to have been identified as a possible best option for managing any future dry seasons. But it should be noted that potable supply, although stretched, was never exhausted. Therefore, the most pressing concern was water supply for gardens and the like, plus car and boat washing. Suggestions for water meters to discourage waste on-site storage, etc., are viable and sensible solutions, but implementation will be difficult, costly, and take time to occur. So is there another solution? Treated grey water is available from the treatment plant. For example, some is directly supplied to the golf club to irrigate its greens. Some goes to the sports park to irrigate its fields, and some is available to authorised collectors for distribution to other end users within the area. Nevertheless, most of it goes to sea via the motor of Tanoa Stream. But what if ratepayers could apply for a card, conditions to be spelled out, of course, to allow them to collect treated wastewater as and when required from a more accessible point? The sports park springs to mind as standpoints could be fed from the already established connection, and water could be collected by users contractors when the card is used to release the flow. It wouldn't require a large covered building. It utilises existing council-owned land. It's accessible. It wouldn't need to be overseen, as the card would also be required to open the collection points, and the cost would be low compared to other alternatives. This is merely a broad brushstroke concept. Is it worth detailed consideration?
Thank you, Bill. Did you want, there's an issue with
Yeah,
taking.
the only comment I would make is the correction where you had treated grey water. It's actually treated black water. So grey water is just a shower and
Okay.
just shower your washing machine. So
Yep.
and it does get confusing because you're talking about these different terms. But yeah, wastewater is black water. So it's toilet waste as well as everything else.
Okay.
Thanks for presenting that, Bill, that's good. My only concern, I suppose my comment I would be is around the letting treated wastewater go out to private properties uncontrolled. Like if someone was getting it, we don't know what they're going to do with it, And there's a high risk, and the Ministry of Health have always been quite nervous and quite clear that there's a real risk in, because you just don't know what people are going to do with it, even either deliberately or by accident, and something you find you've ended up with some of that water in an area where kids are drinking it or something. And so there's definitely some high hurdles to get over, I think, if we were going to head down this path. But definitely don't discourage ideas and yes and no.
So are you saying it's worth consideration, bearing in mind there are some fishhooks?
Probably more it's not. There are some fishhooks, and it's probably not worth investing a lot of time in at this stage, I would say. I think before we could go down the path of doing this, we'd need some more change from a more central government level, from a health perspective, so there needs to be some change and drive coming from that area. Otherwise, the council's going to put itself in a risky situation, I would say.
How clean is the water at that point?
It's very clean. It's very clean. It's very high quality treated wastewater. But the problem is there's always a chance. There's always and there's other. It's very clean from an environmental perspective. But if you're going to start consuming it, there's a number of things in there that could, over time, they don't have confidence over how that might impact on people.
But it's already been collected, Bruce.
Good. What's already been said again, sir?
I was led to believe that water was being collected, or was that potable water that was being collected?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, people who were on tanks, for example.
Oh, that's potable water.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Was that potable?
That was potable, so that's licensed water tankers, filling up from a fire hydrant on the road, so taking potable water and then putting it in tanks. So, so we're comfortable, obviously, with that. It's potable water. But the risk around, there's kind of some unknown risks, I suppose, like I say, long-term consumption of treated wastewater is a bit of an area that we haven't gone into. Now, actually, some countries do blend treated wastewater with potable water, but generally they'll try and do it with they'll put it back into the environment in the stream, and then like a few kilometres down the stream they'll take water back out, so it's gone through a natural process.
What happens if it went through a secondary for like a UV? I mean, I'm getting the logistics of it. If it went through a secondary stage before it was.
No, so it already goes through like 3 different stages. So it's these things that
the last stage wouldn't have another stage.
Another stage wouldn't cover the stage. So.
If I could just, there's also some significant cultural issues.
That's correct.
Like significant cultural issues. So if you take even Wangata and this one here we're talking about, Maori,
I understand cultural.
correct. So it's not a very easy hurdle to get over.
Well, Bill, aren't you understanding taking water to water your garden? That's all you were asking, isn't it?
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, so cultural issues wouldn't really apply to that.
I wouldn't have thought so, because the problem that.
Well, they don't have to take the water.
Huh?
They don't have to take the water. If I go down and get water in my garden, that's not affecting any cultural issue.
I wouldn't have thought so.
I should have thought.
That maybe should run off on the lead list.
It's already, isn't it already happening with the golf course, the sports park, and
the
bowling ground and trees ground? So it's sort of already.
And part of that is the disposal of the treated water. So that is not, was never intended to go and keep the greens at the golf club green and keep the grass there. It was a way of mitigating how much went down the stream into the sea. And so that was pretty convenient. And the golf club, even now, as I understand it, there's a testing regime to make sure that the surface, so, if you decide that you want to lift your golf ball before you play the game, to make sure that there's nothing yet, I'm saying. So the whole thing again, that was a disposal discussion as opposed to keeping grass green.
All right, shall we just wrap this conversation up and continue on to our agenda? So it's a very good point that you raised.
Yes.
But I don't think it's one that can be solved right now in these reports.
Ricky, can I just bring something up that I've got to mention mine? Are all the board aware that $7,800 worth of equipment was given to go on Taylor's mistake by the local Masonic Lodge here, and has a letter been sent. So I don't know whether all the board is aware that that was given.
Certainly, I haven't been given any notification.
Stuff out here.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I wasn't aware.
So I think we should note that.
Yeah, and also, just to add on to that, can we get a letter to them to say thank you? And it's part of my, I'm going to be on the radio tomorrow, but.
And I think you should get
I'll be on the
a
radio.
photo, there'd be a photo, they would like, I know they would like a photo, a little plaque put on it. Can I leave that for you?
Sure,
You get hold of John Hoyt. Andrew Scobie's got it all sorted.
okay, all right.
The Sydney media come out through the council recognising.
Okay. All right, sorry, was that the end of your members' report? Yeah, perfect, thank you, thanks, Bill. Mine, I'll just keep it really brief. I had a quick chat to the motocross guys, and had a quick chat to me. They're very, very thorough, getting all their ducks in a row, really keen to. And they're only looking for land, you know, they don't want any money, so they're getting themselves organised. Just to reiterate what Murray said about the ratepayer chairs meetings that we had, I don't know if you picked up, but Scott Simpson was there. So we did it, one with Mercury Bay South and one with Mercury Bay North. It was really good to get some time with him as well, just to sort of listen to what he had to say, that they were really good meetings for getting, I think, our messaging out as well as hearing from them. And that's about it. Fantastic. I think that our skate park got over the final hurdle yesterday. I mean, Chris was great to come and give us an update. But I'm really excited for that, for this community, and it's great that we've got a board that was able to support that project through. All right, can I get a mover and a seconder for members' reports,
I'll
please?
move it.
Thank you, Deli.
Also,
Thank you, Tony. Now, do we want to do this correction now?
Good.
Yes, so sorry, Jen just needs to.
Through the chair, I've made an error, I guess you would call it in protocol, and I just want to correct the order with your, the mistake. Deli, because you have opposed this motion, I can't accept that you moved the motion. So I apologize for the oversight, and I was just wondering if someone else wouldn't mind moving that.
I'll move it.
Thanks,
Thank you, appreciate that.
if I can ask, sorry. So for me, that was moving, seconding, receiving the report, yes. Not
Okay,
necessarily the
so we came back then, so
yeah.
you want to separate this?
Well, I think we have to, because I've moved that we receive the report.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the same reason you take Dali away from moving the second
So
to
do
me,
you
you're
want
going to take me
I
out too.
stay there to receive it, yeah.
So if I did this.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I guess we'll look for 2 new people for this. Is that correct? So we've got,
What can they not stay, can Bill and Tony not stay there?
Tony, are you comfortable?
Yeah, I'll take it,
Yeah,
I don't support
It
it.
was just
Yeah.
receiving it.
That's right.
Okay,
So I support receiving it.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
So that clarifies it.
It
That's
does.
good. All right.
Apologize,
all.
but it's fixed.
Okay, so we need to move into public excluded.
Also,
Thanks.
Me, I'm the only one.
Yeah, sorry, Lynn, thank you.
Thanks, man.
And we'll stop the recording.
Yes.